Yeah, so what up with all these feds in Kentucky? Oh, jeez. So, let's get this right. Okay. Yeah, so I just actually been thinking about a whole bunch of issues. There's Operation Bob Trot. There's that Morgan County judge corruption case. I understand why they're there, you know, but it just seems like they're always like behind the scenes lurking, and then bam, they just fucking, you know, smack a bunch of people with a bunch of lawsuits and shit and a bunch of fucking evidence out of nowhere. And you know, I don't know. Sometimes it's like anonymous, which is that has been uncovering like so much corruption. There's the guy out of Kentucky, okay? So this is actually what I think about the feds in Kentucky. Okay, so that's the video recording of Derek Lostutter. So Derek Lostutter from Winchester, Kentucky. So this is Kentucky represents, right? The bluegrass state. It's got a lot of issues and a lot of problems, but to be frank, it's better than Ohio. Because look at what's going on right now. Steubenville, Ohio, actually has a particular distinction for me because that's the site of the Yellow Massacre, the Yellow Creek Massacre, where they murdered all of Johnny Logan's families, Native Americans. You know, they killed everybody, they raped everybody, they even took the little baby and scalped the little baby. They took the intestines and like put it all over the fucking river and shit. They were like barbaric, fucking sick psychopaths. So it's no surprise to me that here in this fucking place where the Yellow Creek Massacre had happened, where you got a bunch of fucking white people just murdering, savagely, just fucking raping everybody, not giving a shit about anybody's, you know, human rights, let alone their fucking, I don't know, their freedoms or whatever, but not even their life. So they, it's no surprise to me that they would have, you know, a fucking psychopathic, white psychopathic fascist fucking, you know, sort of land speculator fucking wanting to rape mentality. So that's what we got in Steubenville in the big red football team. So they're fucking raping, you know, they're fucking 16-year-old cheerleaders and shit. And this man from Kentucky, in Winchester, Kentucky, which is significant for the Native Americans too, but Derek Lostutter, who went by Kentucky Anonymous and Nightsec. So Kentucky Anonymous, Kentucky Anonymous is actually having to go through a fucking trial because afterwards you got the FBI who had arrested him. And so he's looking at 25 years in prison, whereas the rapist only got 1 or 2 years in prison, right? When you have, who was that, Tom Payne, who come out of Shawnee High School in Louisville, Kentucky. He's been in prison for about 50 fucking years for a rape case. So you got these two white boys, you know, or maybe they're black, I don't know. But you got two, you know, young men who's raping, and I guess they might have been black. I don't know. The white guy was laughing about it, right? I don't know. It doesn't. It matters because to identify who actually did this shit. But the point being is that they're fucking rapists, so there's a lack of morality. When you get into this testosterone-induced sort of culture where it's good to be aggressive and to be tough and to be, you know, wanting to be violent and to hurt people and not to give a shit about anybody else. So, like, this capitalistic sort of psychopath, like, I mean, this has been with America since 1492. So, this is great for Kentucky because this is we're the bluegrass state, but Kentucky actually means, it's a Shawnee word for dark and bloody ground. So it's a dark and bloody river. And so in Winchester, Kentucky is the capital city of Clark County. So it's named after George Rogers Clark. So George fucking Rogers Clark is a piece of shit, just fucking Indian genocider, kills like a bunch of Indians in Indiana, kills a bunch of fucking Shawnee Indians in Ohio after the militia had lost a battle. So whenever the militia would lose a battle, then George Rogers Clark would just fucking wreak mayhem all across the countryside, sort of like William Tecumseh Sherman, just marched to the sea, just burning and terrorizing the fuck out of everybody. So that's that's a Skippakittiki. Winchester, Kentucky is the last place for the Shawnee. The last village in Kentucky was in a Skippakittiki, which is in modern-day Winchester, Kentucky, Clark County. Same place as Kentucky Anonymous. Same place where Derek Lostutter is coming up out of. So when you think of, wow, it's totally been whitewashed and there's no real justice there, well, you got people like Derek Lostutter, who is actually, Roseanne Barr said he was a white knight. He is a fucking white knight. He is a badass, man. I don't know how he was able to, and he didn't even do the crime. Like the FBI, they're going to try to get the grand jury and to indict him, I don't even know how they're saying that he did the crime. So they're sitting there saying that he's computer crimes. He's being charged with computer crimes, and he's being charged with aggravated identity theft and identity theft attempt and conspiracy. So those are the charges. So I'll say it again: computer crimes, aggravated identity theft, identity theft attempt, which makes no sense. It's comma identity theft comma attempt. I don't know what attempt means, and then conspiracy. So either they attempted to get identity theft or conspired to do it, so he tried to do something with identity theft, it's just fucking bullshit, okay? So the reason why I think it's remarkable that they're even going to say that he did it, because he had got the information from Michelle McKee, who had got it from Alexandria Goddard. So, and there's like some discrepancy between Bat Boy or Batgammon or some other fucking hacker out of Florida who he says took credit for it. Batcat. So Kentucky Anonymous says Batcat is the one who had hacked into the computer. If there was any crime of hacking into someone else's computer, been Batcat. So Kentucky Anonymous, Derek Lostutter isn't guilty of any of this. Derek Lostutter has, nothing to do with any type of crime. He got some information and he passed it on. And that's how the internet works. You pass them. He said he was militarizing the media. So he was getting the media to cover an incident that they had grown quiet on after the case had been broken. And so he was, really getting the media to focus on the incident more. And it worked. He was successful at doing that. But he didn't do the hacking. They're saying computer crimes, aggravated identity theft. They're just fucking with him because, he was able to hack onto their fucking, or somebody was able to hack onto the page and get the fucking information and then get the information posted up to where lots of people was able to see it. And so they're pissed off that, the information got out and they got fucking convicted of doing this horrendous shit. And it wasn't just the football players, because you had community officials, county officials, parents, and everybody else who's trying to cover up their fucking ass too. Just like fucking Paterno, right? The whole college is going to fucking jump on the fucking carcass of Paterno because he had watched, fucking Sandusky sitting there fucking some kid in the fucking shower, like just walked by and be like, walked on and pretend like he didn't see shit. So, the people put sports heroes up on a pedestal. Nobody wants to see anybody go down, but if they did some horrendous shit, like motherfucker, like that's some, Tom Paine, he was the first black player to be accepted onto UK's basketball team with Adolph Rupp. He's been in prison for like 45 years, nearly 50 years in prison because of rape. But these high school students, they rape, and they're only in prison for 1 year. And now you're looking at Derek Lostutter, who is looking at 25 years in jail. 25 fucking years. So what's the bigger crime? Is it the bigger crime to, encrypt your fucking messages and then get some fucking incriminating some incriminating videos on someone's website, possibly breaking someone's privacy, or the actual crime itself? And this is an incredible case, especially being tried by the FBI or any intelligence agency, because that is exactly what the fuck they do. They break laws all the time, privacy law, and then once they say, well, at least we stopped them, this is for safety and security, we was able to stop this so-called terrorist. And they have stopped several so-called terrorists. In Kentucky, actually, there is, in Bowling Green, you had a big fucking, these two Iraqi refugees had somehow gotten into America, and they was in Kentucky, and they was in Bowling Green at a storage unit, and they were sitting there, stockpiling all these weapons, and they was thinking they was gonna send a shit ton of money and shit back to Iraq to fight some of the Americans. And so that was, that was a good call. That was a good catch by the FBI. And so that's essentially what, they're doing. How did they catch him? Nobody knows. Nobody gives a shit. But they're probably wiretapping, fucking following them, the detectives, whatever they can do, whatever they can use. And if they get the bad guys, then it's like all justified. So unfortunately, they're going to sit there and try to say Derek Lostutter is guilty of the very same shit that they're doing. So I think as a society, this is going to sort of spearhead into something else. I think we should decide what we actually think about Eric Lostutter. Eric Lostutter's a fucking hero. He's a hero. Okay, he's a badass. And I'm glad to be Kentucky. This is one of the, we don't have too many heroes that we can cling on to. Eric Lostutter is one of them.
His opinion here. Enough with the hyperbole. How can she be scarred for life if she supposedly can't remember anything? On this fateful night, a life was changed forever as a group of the football players of Big Red High School dubbed themselves Rape Crew and began taking advantage of an underage girl. The girl was sexually assaulted.
Okay, I'm gonna cut that just because it's kind of slowing on my video, and this is gonna be choppy, but just the audio is what's important, and sort of like look, there's stuff happening on the TV, right? So it doesn't matter, just as long as something's being watched. Maybe it had a graphic of itchy and scratchy cartoon. Make it better. But the FBI has intervened several times. In Morgan County, they had intervened, and they had raided Tim Conley's home and office. So they go into the home and office and just take all their shit. Here's the story of the FBI coming down on on Eric Lostutter. So you also have this Elmer Fudd bandit who comes out of Kentucky, right? Clarkstown, Kentucky, or Clarkson, Kentucky, which is it's a 6th-class city in Grayson County. It's right next to Litchfield. It's 20% poverty, really poor, city, population 794, small town. So that's the FBI here. that's somebody. That's just Kentucky FBI's Kentucky involvement. And there's actually I think about 7 or 8 FBI offices in Kentucky. So it's on Wikipedia. There's a Covington office, a Louisville office. So let's just see, Louisville, Kentucky. So maybe just FBI Kentucky. So yeah, what a bunch of fucking hypocrites, right? They're not living by their own standards. They could fucking wiretap you and do everything in order to get you. That's how they got Blagojevich. They got Blagojevich because they tape recorded a fucking private conversation he was having about selling the seat, and then he's going to jail for that. Just for talking about it, in the privacy of your own home. I don't see how they could do that with the 4th Amendment rights, and that's what Eric Lostutter is saying. He's saying there's a lot of rights actually they had suspended. In order to, arrest him. A list of FBI field offices. Jump to Kentucky. Okay, so there's a FBI field office in Louisville. That's the main headquarters is Louisville, Kentucky. The rest of the state, they got Bowling Green, Covington, Hopkinsville, Lexington. Let's see. Bowling Green, Covington, Hopkinsville, Lexington, London, Owensboro, Pikeville, and Louisville. So they got 8 offices throughout the state. That's the FBI. And there's Operation Bob Trot, where they arrested a shit ton of legislators in 1992. Richie Farmer, I think Richie Farmer, his shit was fucking tapped. Just federal involvement in general with Operation Unite. But this is the FBI, so this is the FBI. And it doesn't, when they write it up, a lot of times the police officer's name isn't written down in the article because it's just the police. They are all together. It's not like one person killed another person. It was like the whole department killed the person. And they do the same thing with the FBI. They're very, very incognito. The story is just like FBI agents came on the scene, arrested everybody, went home, and then that was it. And that's the story, basically. FBI agents came by, did whatever the fuck they wanted, intimidated people, said, "Don't shut your fucking mouth or you'll get arrested for talking." And then, that's just how life is in the fast lane. So they says as he opens the door, the driver in this there's a FedEx truck. He was like just coming home from hunting, and there's a driver to the FedEx truck jumps out, and there's 12 FBI SWAT team members who jump out of the FedEx truck saying get the fuck down. They got M16 assault rifles, so they got fucking 12 motherfuckers with assault rifles like get down, get down, get down. It was like what? For what? Exposing Steubenville rapists, these motherfuckers. That's where the fucking revolution started. Not only did they not give a shit, but I mean, this is incredible. I think more Kentucky as American, Kentuckians, Indian, natives. I mean, where do we get our fucking uncouthness from? Do we really get it from Europe or the Indians?